Hey, Kirsten, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
So good to see you. I'm so excited. We are recording a video today. Kirsten and I are going to be doing an event coming up in Park City, and we wanted to chat about this upcoming weekend warrior workshop to build your own website. Kirsten is the executive director of the Women's Inspired Network up in Park City. And so we're going to just record this video. We're going to talk about WIN and all the amazing things that you're doing with the Women Inspired Network up in Park City. We're going to talk about how this event came into fruition, what some of your goals are. And then we're going to dive into branding. You guys, Kirsten has some really cool tracks in the branding world, has made a huge impact in the marketing world. And I want to tell you guys about some of the projects she's worked on. And then we're going to give you guys a sneak peek into some of the processes and programs we're using on this weekend warrior workshop. So stick around. I hope you enjoy this conversation and that you enjoy coming to Park City and enjoying this workshop with us. So welcome, Kirsten.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Can send all of that back at you for branding and storytelling and all the amazing things that you and your team at Jumbo John are doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Kirsten and I met a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago at a WIN event. And it was like this immediate connection. You know, when you meet somebody and you're like, have we met before? Have we been best friends before? Yes, I think we have. We just were getting reintroduced. And it's been so fun. So, Kirsten, why don't you tell our audience today, like, what WIN is? How did it come about? What are you guys doing up in Park City? What kind of waves are you making up in Park City?
Kinds of exciting waves. So the Women's Inspired Network started actually all the way back in the 1990s, and it used to be the Women's Business Network, I think was what it was called.
Hmm.
And then an amazing woman called Kathleen Barlow came in, and in about 2018-19, she took it over and she changed the name to the Women's Inspired Network. And she brought a new flavor to it, from what I understand, which was more based in the red tent and this idea of how we connect and support each other and telling our stories and things like that, which is really powerful. And then COVID hit and life hit and Kathleen moved, and the organization was actually not even doing anything for about a year. And I took it over about a year and a half ago now,
Wow.
almost.
Uh-huh.
And we brought it back to life. And foundation of everything that we do as a community is connection. And when I say connection, I'm talking authentic, real, come in your pajamas if you've had a hard day, no pretense kind of connection, because that's where we build stronger bonds, where we find the people we're really looking for, kind of how you and I met.
Mhm.
And we grow when we have that kind of connection. So it's a really, really special community. What the work we do together, the things we explore together, the way we play together is all really, really powerful and fun. And we do meetups once a month. We have a lunch and learn once a month. We have other ways to connect
Mhm.
a month. And it's just super fun and making a big difference for a lot of people,
It
which
is making a big difference. Tell us about your scholarship program because that's one of the big flagship parts that makes WIN different
yeah.
than other
So
organizations.
right now we are an entirely volunteer run organization, including myself. And every dollar that isn't going towards technology or a storage space or, the things that hard costs we have to have goes towards scholarships for young women graduating from high school across the four high schools along the Wasatch Back, the four major high schools. And it's not like a huge amount of money, but it's the money that allows them to transition into their scholarships to make their scholarships and other things happen.
Mhm.
So it's money that helps pay for rent and books and food and all the stuff that can sometimes make or break someone's ability to actually go to
Yeah.
college or some sort of follow-up school. But it's
Yeah.
all about supporting these young women in pursuing their education and their dreams.
Mhm.
And then we're in the process of, we do a lot more with them than we used to. So it's more than just a scholarship. We have a send-off picnic with their families and they get adventure packs for this big new adventure that they're going on in their hero's journey.
Wow.
And we are also in the process of putting together a mentorship program that will provide these young women with local business mentors from
Wow.
the area who will be there to support them on their journey. So
That's
it's,
amazing. Well,
yeah,
I have so many thoughts. First off, as a mother with kids in college, like I think a lot of times we're not thinking about the expenses of food and rent and just living expenses outside of the tuition and the hard costs of school. And a lot of times when you have a scholarship from a school, it doesn't cover those things. And if you
exactly.
get additional scholarships, it still goes in this tuition pool. It does, and and so I think that's really, really incredible and really insightful.
Yeah.
But as you're talking, I'm getting goosebumps all over my arms and all over my legs because when we educate women, whether they're in the Wasatch Back or whether they're in the savannas of Africa, when we educate women, we change generations and we give women opportunities to grow and learn and make an impact. Like, not only is that woman more able to provide for herself and for her future family, but she also has, like, I think every person is designed to come to earth with a mission and a purpose, and education just catapults that, and it can be such a, it can create such a huge impact in terms of inventions and problem solving and leadership. And because women, we think differently than
Yeah.
men, and
Yeah.
we need more women in the workplace, and what better way to make an impact than to help fuel that through education with the next generation that's coming up. So
Yeah. Our goal is to move needles. Our goal, my personal goal, and everything that I do that is definitely infused into Win is reigniting the parts of ourselves that know how to thrive. There's a quote that I know Oprah talks about this one all the time. So I actually can't watch The Wizard of Oz because of childhood nightmares from it, but I
oh,
do love this quote. So it's, you've always had the power, my dear. You just needed to learn it or had to learn it for yourself. And we all have this power, but learning those skills, learning and remembering how to thrive, learning how to work, with whatever shows up on our hero's journey, whether it's for these young women or our community at large, and not just the WIN community, but the community in general, because that all ripples out. And so that's really
huge.
ultimately what all of this is about, is whether it's remembering or learning how capable we are and all we can bring to the world. That's what it's all about. And gosh, going to college or going to whatever, not everyone's going to a 4-year college. Some people are going to a 2-year school to become nurses or whatever it might be. It's a terrifying, exciting, incredible time when you first take that real big leap out into the real world. And so it's such a privilege.
Mhm.
Part of that for some of these girls. We hope with this mentorship program to eventually become that for many, many more girls across Wasatch Back.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just exciting.
That's amazing. I love that. So let's talk about your goals with Win, because I know one of the goals with Win, with business owners specifically, is to have actionable, tangible, boots on the ground, move the needle kind of activities in business. So talk about some of your goals with Win in terms of what you guys are doing in that direction.
So we have lunch and learns and we have all these ways to learn, but what we're stepping more and more into in this event that we're going to be talking about is one of the examples of this, is how we can better partner with our community, with uh, our members to build their businesses, and how together we can help each other build our businesses.
Yeah.
So you came, you did this incredible AI event that people are still talking about to learn
So
how to build a
cool.
marketing plan like this.
Hmm.
Before, people were really talking about this a lot, which was ironically maybe a year ago, and it's already like now everyone, I think,
Hmm.
knowledge, but at the time this was pretty exciting and earth-breaking. And But then you and I start talking and playing and exploring, and here we are offering this website warrior workshop. But it isn't just something we're delivering to our community. It's you and your team have come up with a whole new potential avenue for business, a whole new possible revenue stream, whatever it might be, because you guys took this and ran with it and created this whole way to deliver this experience
Mhm.
that's just incredible. So
Mhm.
whether it's that or putting together three companies who can all help each other, or
Mhm.
share space together to save on costs but add to impact,
Yeah.
whatever it is, we are there to be a catalyst, to be a sounding board, to be all of those things. But our absolute objective in the long run, I mean, it's great to get together. It's great to have these connections. These connections do unto themselves move the needle. But how can we look at that, be even more intentional about that, and make sure that we are helping to literally grow people's
I
business?
I just love that so much because, and one of the things that I talk about all the time is like, let's work while we're working. And it's so fun to go to events, and it's so fun to go learn. And how often have you gone to an event and you take a pile of notes and you come home excited, but then you get swept away with other responsibilities and the fires that happened while you were gone. And then you're just like, but I don't remember what button to push. She told me to push a button and I don't remember which button to push. And then it just gets forgotten, right? And so it's so wonderful when you can come to a community where you have the feeling of inspiration and you have the feeling of belonging and you have the feeling of connection, and you're going to work while you're there. So when you leave, you're like, okay, I got something done.
Yeah.
Like moves the needle, right?
That's what I love most about our lunch and learns is they are all built to not just walk out the door inspired, but to walk out the door with something tangible that you've already started
Yeah.
to step into.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that so much. So before we talk about the event, let's talk about branding because you own a company called Rocket Trike and are master brander. Um, will you talk a little bit about what is branding, traditional branding, and how Play Create changes the game with branding?
So, branding, there's more and more talk about this, and there's a lot of people who dance around this. There's not a lot of people who still get to the total heart and soul of it, and that's what branding is.
Mm-hmm.
Branding is not your logo. It's not even, to some degree, your story.
Mm-hmm.
It is the heart and soul of who you are and why you exist and what you care about and all of those kinds of things. Then everything else becomes an expression of it. So when you really get to the heart and soul of it and you honor that heart and soul. So there are some examples. A lot of my work historically was repositioning brands. 90% of the time, I wasn't actually repositioning them. I wasn't coming up with something, oh, wouldn't it be cool if you're this? And if we take these people and we figure out how to make you into something you're not.
Mm.
What I was doing was pulling them back from trying to become something they weren't, to actually understanding and knowing down to the depths of their soul, every possible human in the organization, who they really were, so that they could then be that out in the world. And I have yet to ever see that not lead to incredible results. And
I
so
love that. I mean,
that's
really, like a lot of times you see branding agencies, you go outside in. You're like, what does the outside look like? What does the building look like? What does the sign look like? What does the logo look like? What does the business card look like? And then we're trying to penetrate inside. But what you're doing is completely opposite of that, and it's so much more powerful. It's like, let's listen to the heartbeat first. Let's record the heartbeat, and then let's design around your heartbeat. So it comes from within you, and then all of those experiences, all those touch points are a reflection of who you really are.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
I
And
love
all
that.
those things are important, right? But it's, if we are constantly trying to change ourselves to fit into the world, we're never actually bringing what we have to offer the world. And we talk about that for human individuals, but the same thing is true of major brands. And
Yes.
it's all the same,
It's
really.
all the same. It's just a lot harder to pivot when you have a big brand.
True.
And it's a lot more expensive to do when you have a big brand. But it's really powerful because you have a machine that can help create that momentum, and you have the resources to make it.
And here's the deal. I mean, God, we'll see if I'm saying this in 5 years, but brands are made up of human beings. Brands aren't a machine. They are the totality of all the human beings who engage with it, whether it's the human beings within the organization, the human beings on the front line, or the human beings that choose to connect in with that brand and wear it on their sleeve or whatever might happen with it.
Yeah.
And so if we try and take that human beingness out and try and just machine this stuff through, most of the time it's not going to connect with people on this deeper, level that gets us here and makes us want to stay connected.
Yeah.
So, we could talk about this all day, but
Oh my gosh. I love it. So I love that so much. And so one of the things I think that really resonates with Rocket Trike, which is your company, and Jumbo John, which is my company, is and we have different systems and we have different products that we offer, but it's like this really a beautiful ability to create authenticity and sharing that voice and having a platform. So number one is you understand that, and number two, so that you have a platform to share it with people. And then they are either going to say, yes, that totally resonates with me, or they're going to say, nah, it's not mine. And either way is fine, but then you're actually connecting with an audience who is authentic. And
Sarah, in all of my time working with a lot of really big, sometimes internationally owned, run agencies, down to small ones, and I would bring it in smaller ways, but I don't think any of them ever, on the brands I worked on, talked to them about their archetype or talk to them about their journeys started happening, becoming like a big conversation point a long time ago now. But the work that Jumbo John does and how you all do it and how easy you make it for people to get clarity on what their archetype is, what their story is, and how to tell it clearly, and how to bring all of that information into a really gorgeous visual site that can bring that to life, not only on the front end, on the back end, because it actually gets discovered. It's so beautiful. And even a lot of the pure website companies that I've worked with or gone to get help from in the past or whatever it might be, aren't necessarily thinking this way. And what the work that you all are doing is really extraordinary, in the sites that you're creating and the way you work with your clients, and all of the things are stuff I have always wished I saw more in the industry, and you guys are living and breathing your own brand. You know who you are. And that most agencies, I'm not gonna speak for any small ones in this community because I just don't know them well enough. But the larger mid-size agencies I've worked with around the country, most of them don't even know who they are. They just do the work for everyone else.
Right.
I think in some ways makes it harder for them to do even better work.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh, you're so kind, and I really appreciate you saying that. And that coming from you is such a huge compliment, and it's something that like we really have spent the last 15 years studying, both the technology side of web development, Google Analytics and search engine optimization and keyword research and site speed and all those things that make a site visible to the public. But also, it's like once you get a human being in front of your website, is like, does that message convert? Does it resonate? Does it make somebody cry? Does it make somebody laugh? Does it make somebody stay on there long enough for them to feel like they have a connection with you? So I'm so grateful you said that. Thank you so much.
It's just it's been one of the things I've been most impressed with since we first met is how not just what you all do, but how you do it because
Thank
it's
you.
experience it again is what makes the difference from just being a brand out there with a good website to
Mhm.
being a brand out there that is connecting on that level that really drives a whole different level of results.
Right. Oh my gosh. Let's talk about brand archetypes.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? So, we didn't invent this, you guys. John Bodin did not invent archetypes. This actually comes from Carl Jung, who's a psychologist, and he came up with these 12 archetypes. And they, once we talk about them, everyone knows them. You
Yeah.
just might not know that you know them. But you have the ruler, the jester, the everyday guy and girl. You have the adventurer slash the explorer, the sage. Yes, yes. So you know these, right? Like we know these. And so what we did is we took these 12 archetypes and we transformed the strategy of the 12 archetypes into marketing. And so it's so fun. We created a quiz and there's 5 questions to help you identify those core, like what is the experience you want to provide and how do you describe your client and what's the most important thing about you as a business leader. And answering those 5 questions, you can identify like your top 1 or 2 archetypes. And then you can use your brain and your heart to be like pros and cons. What's the best thing about this archetype versus the best thing about that archetype? Kirsten, do you remember which archetype you are?
The magician. And I mean, so I'm always a nutcase when it comes to this kind of stuff because I
Mhm.
can think through and
Yeah.
overthink till the cows come home. But what was so beautiful about how you all do this is it culls it down for you without you having to overthink it at all.
Right.
And then based on what you come up with at the end, there might be a little bit at the end, but what was the coolest thing for me once I really understood the process was no one archetype is just that archetype. So it still allows for elements of
Hmm.
the others. So I could be, for example, or Rocketryke could be the magician,
Hmm.
but it also could have that like totally playful, creative artist in it, or it could have,
Hmm.
it's just which one really leads the show, which helps
Yes.
to then direct and inform everything else. And then those other elements are kind of sprinkled in. A lot of
Hmm.
times they're yeah, it's brilliant and it makes it so easy and it takes the overthinking out of the process, which I was so thankful for.
I love that because then you have a framework. I love studying Maslow's hierarchy of needs,
Yeah.
where you have at the bottom, you have food, water, shelter. Then you have rules, you have structure, and then you have belonging and creation. And the cool thing about this system is that it creates the structure, it creates the rules. And then once you have the rules and you have the framework, you decide how you're playing in that framework, then you can belong. Then you can be creative, right? But if you start with creativity, it's like starting a river without a riverbank
Yeah.
and you get a flood and the
Yeah.
water doesn't go where it needs to, right? So I like having that structure and that framework, and then we can be creative, and then you can make it your own, and that's totally the goal. The thing that I love, and I think that it's easy to think about stereotypes. So you think about magician, you're like, oh, there's a guy with a top hat, and he's got a bird in his hat, and that's very stereotypical. But I want you to think about this is the brand archetype for the magician is cultivates enchantment and wonder, fosters creativity and imagination, builds trust through visionary insight. Like that just embodies everything we've just talked about. Encourages holistic problem solving, enhances personal growth, and has promotes mastery of the unknown. So your brand doesn't have to look like a guy with a top hat and a bird. It can look like whatever you want it to look like because we're embodying what it is to be magic.
Yep. And it was part of what was so powerful for me with that, Sarah, was I've always, most of the people I've worked with would call me more the sage.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes sense in some respects, but sage, again, maybe stereotypical, doesn't usually have that more playful even sometimes magical side to it. And, you know, a lot of my clients talk about they found wonder again working with me, or they found, you know, these parts of themselves that they put away. And Rocket Trike is so much about bringing that whole side of ourselves we put away after we're kids because we're told we have to, but that's actually
Right.
the side we need to navigate all this crazy uncertainty in the world.
Yeah.
Um, so the magician was like, oh, this is so much more fun. Like I can play with this and I can like
Yeah.
it just
Yeah. So here's the thought that I'm having right now is the magician is still a sage. Because if you go to a magic show, the magician knows what's behind the curtain, and the magician is leading the crowd, and the magician has experienced years and years and years of training to master their skill. So there's something still about being in the presence of the magician that like they're still the sage. But on top of that is like the playfulness and it's the wonder and it's you're creating a group experience potentially of transformation, which you don't necessarily get if you're just the sage, right?
well and again I'm gonna throw a stereotype of the sage out that isn't necessarily true.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of times a sage comes in to share their wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Everything I do, and the only way, like all of my most successful brand work from Las Vegas to, you know, winning the Porsche business for an agency to other things over time was because I did it in a collaborative, we're going to discover this together kind of way. So
Mm-hmm.
a lot of strategists will come in and they'll be like, here's the answer, and this is why, and go. And it's super helpful. And in this crazy time crunched, you know, world and industry that we're in, it helps sometimes to not
Mm-hmm.
tons of non-billable hours, but it doesn't necessarily, again, get all those humans who
Yeah,
need to bring the brand to life to come to life. So the
yeah,
magician is more about that, right? It's about
yeah,
finding
yeah.
magic in yourself than being guided by some all-knowing whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
so it's been such a powerful new way for me to go. And it's like from here to here,
Mm-hmm.
but it's a really meaningful
Yeah.
shift to something that is just so much more fertile
Yeah.
for the kinds of things that I'm doing and stepping more and more into.
Which I just love. And if you're listening to this and you're like, I want to be the magician, this is so inspiring. I want to be the magician. Here's the thing is like you get to be you. And if the magician, if that resonates with you, be the magician. And if the sage, I've done this experience with hundreds of business owners, and most of them want to be the sage. It's very, very common because the sage is the one that has the experience and they have the credentials and they've done the trial and error. And so it's a very safe, it's a very common experience for a business professional and a business to be playing that role. And that's awesome. I think that's amazing. I think it's a really beautiful thing. And it might not convey the right language for what you really want to do. So for example, we have a client who they help patients with knee pain. And they had two archetypes. One of them was the sage, and one of them was the caregiver. And so I have an awesome writing team. Chantel on my team was in charge of the copy for this, and she wrote the voice as the sage. And we talked to the CMO, and he's like, no, this isn't right. That word is not right. This is not right. This is not right. And it just was this feeling like the copy wasn't good. And I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. It's not the problem with the copy. The copy was in the wrong voice. I said, let's experiment with let's paint the copy. Let's use the voice of the caregiver because their whole point in their practice was to make the person feel like we're going to take care of your mom. We're going to take care of your grandma. We're going to help her feel better, which is a very warm, it's like not we're going to put on our white coats and we're going to do the procedure well. It's like we're going to take care of the relationship. We're going to take care of the emotional well-being. We're going to help you feel better so you can get back to living your life.
Yeah.
And so Chantel rewrote the copy with the caregiver, and our CMO was like, that's awesome. That's perfect. It's done. And it was so cool because when we launched the website, we went from 8,000 daily visitors to 11,000 daily visitors. And a year later, they're at 30,000 visitors.
That's amazing. Not surprising for what you're doing and how you do it,
Right.
but that is amazing, right?
It's
And
amazing
yeah.
because then you have like Google is like, go to this company if you want this service done. There's a lot of marketing that goes into play with that, right? But here's the thing is like then when people get there, they're like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I needed. I've been praying for this answer. I've been asking my friends. I've been searching for this solution because you have the right voice.
And this is back to being your unique self. So when we did the branding lunch and learn for Win,
Mhm.
we had some caregivers in there, and one of the things, like, they were coming up initially with the stuff you hear everywhere. And yet I know this organization and they have such a special touch and way they do it that means so much to people when they need caregivers. And so
Mhm.
our invitation to them was all about, okay, what is your unique flavor of this? Because just being caring and having the hands and all of that stuff, those are kind of your tickets to entry. They aren't what makes you stand out and make someone say, I need to work with you. And
Right.
so really getting to that heart and soul and being able to bring that to life. And this is where I think the archetypes too and the way you all do it is so powerful because it kind of helps uncover those unique differences. So someone might be carrying in a sage, someone else might be carrying in a magician, someone else might be carrying and a caregiver and a
Mhm.
adventurer, right? Like, I don't know, but when
Yeah.
you understand that, it helps you start getting to this place where the way you do it
Mhm.
then connect faster, more effectively with the people who are looking for the way
Yeah.
you do it.
Yes. And the cool thing about branding is that branding is your experience as a business leader. If you're in charge of the marketing, if you're in charge of the website, or if you are the business owner, when you are making these decisions, it doesn't just impact your website. It's also like, oh, I finally have language. When I go to the Chamber of Commerce or when I do that public speaking engagement, I have the language that look, I'm getting goosebumps. Like I have the language to be authentic, to tell people what I do because you've done the work like that inside out work where you can display who you are and the unique gifts that you are to the world and how you are solving those challenges uniquely.
That's the other thing I would say. In my experience so far and what I hear working with Jumbo John, you're there building a website, but you're really there gaining just incredible clarity on who you are, what you're bringing to the world, why you're bringing it to the world. That then allows that all to not just flow through the website, but it becomes what you use in your elevator pitch. It becomes what goes into your other materials.
Right.
It's a powerful thing.
Yes. Yes. So Jamba John is the explorer. We're the explorer archetype, and it was so fun. Now when we're out on adventures and we're doing incredible, we're like at the vistas of our life, you know, when we're hiking and we're doing some fun things, I'm like, oh, we got to get a picture for the website because that matches our archetype, right? But I love like the explorer archetype really one of the things is that inspiring adventure and new experiences, cultivating independence and self-sufficiency. That is what this event is all about. Is
Yeah.
that as Jumbo John, we do offer white glove service where we're doing custom design and we're doing the custom copy for you. And I love that. But this product, this service really allows for the business owner to take the benefit of the Jumbo John experience and the Jumbo John ecosystem, but you will have the tools to be able to walk away from this event with a product and with the knowledge of like, why is this important and why do I have to keep working at it? Because the website
So
is never finished.
yes. So let's like really talk about this event.
Yeah.
So this is a 2.5, kind of 2 and a 3 hour day
Mhm.
event. It starts with a deep dive into your archetype, your story, gaining kind of all that clarity around your message and what it is that you want to create, led by you taking us
Mhm.
on that journey.
Yeah.
And I just got to do that with you, and it's amazing. And then the following 2 days
Mhm.
are a week after that, so people have time to really simmer and think about this and tweak some of the stuff.
Mhm.
And we are going to be putting all of this into this
Yes.
gorgeous website template that that is built to help really clearly walk people through a story that they can understand, connect with quickly,
Mhm.
and that drives some pretty serious results, and that has all the back ends
Mhm.
that you don't just have this beautiful website, but you get found.
Yes.
And because you are doing it yourself with you and learning the process, now when I have to change something, I
Mhm.
kind of probably mostly, although we know me in tech, so maybe not me, but I know
Yeah.
where I need to go to change the picture
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
to change a little bit of the copy or whatever it might be. So now I'm empowered to have this WordPress website that I've wanted to have forever, but was so intimidated by because I've been a part of the experience, if not driving most of the actual building of this website with your guidance.
Yes.
Huge.
This is so huge, you guys. John John built a content management system on our own, but we decided years and years and years ago we didn't want to pigeonhole people into a product and make them stay with us. So we're using WordPress. WordPress is one of the highest used content management systems on the internet. Fortune 500 companies use WordPress. It's not the only platform out there, but it's super robust. So we're giving you the keys of a powerful tool that is can be the framework for shopping carts, for event tickets, for memberships, for podcasts, for like anything that you're doing on the internet. This can be a foundation for you. And so what we're going to do, like Kirsten said, do the brand archetype, find out what your colors are, figure out your voice. And then with our team, you guys, I have experienced developers who are building out these systems for our customers who will be on site helping. We're going to guide you through copywriting. We're going to leverage AI. You can do it all manually if you want to, but we're going to leverage AI if you want to use that as a catalyst. That won't be the end product. We want you involved, but we are going to leverage some of that technology. We're going to help you understand how to make the websites pretty. This isn't a custom design, but we are leveraging, we've custom built plugins and software so that you don't have to know how to Photoshop to get beautiful images on your website. I'm so excited. In addition to that, we're going to show you how to do keyword research. So, Kirsten, I'm sure you have your phone, and in the last couple of days, you said, "Hey Siri, where is, or how long is this store open, or tell me about trilobites." Y'all have done that, right? Like with kids and work and stuff like that. So we're going to help you know how do you decide which keywords to optimize your website based on how people are actually searching for your product, which
Huge.
can make a huge impact. For example, if you're a realtor, are people searching realtor near me, or are they searching real estate agent? Or are they searching houses for sale, or are they searching homes for sale? Like just nuancy things can really impact how competitive that environment is and what kind of work you need to do to rank in those categories. We're going to show you. We're going to show you not only how to do the research, but then how to optimize those pages. I'm really excited. One of the new add-ons is that we're creating an offer page. Quite often, especially when you're watching commercials, my kids don't even know what commercials are. They're confused when we're watching a show with commercials now. But you know how you have a commercial when you have a product that's for sale and you have the features and benefits? We're actually going to help the people in the room walk through the process of creating an offer. And whether you're selling a $20,000 product or you're selling a $12 product, the formula is the same. And then once you have that offer, not only do you have the landing page with the offer, but then when again you're in live public, when you're going to your family function, you're going to staff meeting, when you're training your team, you have the script. You have the script. And so we're really excited about this event. You guys, if you were to buy a product like this from Jumbo John, it'd be almost $10,000. So when it's under $1,000, you're getting that framework, the Jumbo John framework and the expertise. And part of that money is going to support the Women's Inspired Network.
Wow,
Part of it's coming to Jumbo John to cover our costs to creating this new platform. And part of that money is going as a direct fundraiser for Women's Inspired Network.
which we are so thankful for. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was funny on KPCW. The question was, how can they do that? Why are they doing that?
Right? Well, and the answer is like if we're working in a group setting, that allows us to leverage our resources. We've spent a lot of time in the last several months preparing with new software and new development practices and new products to make that happen, because we want to support WIN and the amazing work you're doing, and we want more businesses to succeed. And so this allows us to support a demographic of business owners that we haven't been able to help before.
So tell everyone who's not already Jumbo John savvy, part of Jumbo John, your whole purpose is to be there for what? For businesses. I forget exactly how you say it, but this is important.
Oh, okay. Can I tell a story?
Yeah.
Sure, and I have a story. So several years ago, we went through a medical catastrophe, and we almost lost everything. I'll spare you the details, but it was really hard. The season after our acute recovery, we ended up in the Redwood Forest. And if you've been to the Redwood Forest, there's a trail called the Redbird or the Ladybird Trail, and it was Lyndon Johnson's wife's trail. They've named it after her, and it's this 1 mile loop through the old forest. And I have 3 of my 4 kids with me, and the fog was descended in the trees. The trees are they're as tall as the Statue of Liberty, and it's just unfathomable how big they are. And I felt this like reverence, and my kids started running around and playing and being loud. I was like, you guys, we need to be reverent. We need to be quiet. And I felt like I was walking amongst the ancient tribal leaders. So you talk about the feeling of the sage. That's the feeling of the Redwood Forest.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, our life had just been completely decimated. And I just was hungry for the feeling of wisdom that could come from a tree that has been alive since the Middle Ages. They survived the Crusades, and they survived hurricanes, and the Crusades weren't at the Redwood Forest, but they were alive at the same time. And I was just hungry. I'm like, I see these trees that have fallen over and they've got like a burnt trunk, and yet they're still alive. So it's like, kids, you guys gotta be quiet. Shh. And we're walking and we're taking pictures, and we're almost the only ones in the forest. And all of a sudden I turned around, and the sun had broken through these trees, and pillars of light were spilling. And it looked like, I imagine if I were around when Jesus was born, it would have looked like that, but it was quiet. There were no angels singing. It was just incredible. I actually took a picture of it, and it's by my office. Now, for context, there's a little bit of a glare. I apologize. My daughter would stand about that tall. So that's for context for how big these trees are. And my life changed. My life changed that day. And I realized our family survived, Jumbo John survived this catastrophe because we were living in a redwood forest. We were surrounded by giants. We were surrounded by community, by family, by church, by schools, by business owners and friends who really supported us in that time. And I learned that day while the roots are only 12 feet deep, which is less than 5% of their height, every tree has a 50-foot radial root system, and they connect to each other. That's how they survive. And then later that day, I learned that every tree has 3 ecosystems that it supports. And I made this decision that day. I was like, I don't want to just be in a redwood forest. I don't want to just survive because of the trees around me. I want to help build a redwood forest. I want to help build communities because here's the thing. If you have a business owner, whether she's a man or a woman, her abundance will support 3 or more ecosystems. Her abundance is going to impact her community. Her abundance is going to impact her family. Her abundance is going to impact her team, right? And we don't have the resources to impact those communities unless we become the redwood forestry, when we become a sequoia. And so that's one of the things that is so important as Jumbo John is growing. We make websites, that's what we do. But really, what we have a belief that every person comes to the planet with a mission and a purpose. For some of us, that includes owning a business. And when, as a business owner, if I can succeed, I can hire more people and I can impact more businesses and I can help inspire more people. And the same is true for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think that's why we connect so much as humans. I mean, that win is all about that, right? And
Yes.
it's the stuff you don't always see under the surface because we're so driven to focus on the checklist and the getting this done and I have to do this and if I do this then I should like be okay and then you're not and you're like but I did all the stuff.
Right.
Well, without all this other sometimes less visible, once you're in it, it's not less visible, but less visible, less tangible stuff is actually all the nutrients that are in the soil that help us grow, which is
Yes.
mixing up analogies. But
Yeah.
um and that's what I think I heard you once say too, that you're in the businesses of helping other businesses pack for their adventure or something.
Oh, yes. Yes. We want to be like the safari guide.
Yeah.
We are, because business ownership is a giant adventure. And for some of us, it's Angel's Landing. For some of us, it's Safari. For some of us, we all have a different destination, but we want to be that business that helps you outfit for your adventure. On safari, there's animals with feathers, there's animals with spots, there's animals, but all of those need to find their watering hole. And so what we're going to do is we're going to help you get the outfit, which is the color scheme and the typography, and we're going to help you see who you really are. And then we want to help you understand how to find that watering hole online. We want to avoid the pitfalls, we want to avoid the predators, but we need to find our community, and that's really what we're all about.
It's amazing. The other thing I have to say about the workshop itself, and you can
Mhm.
say this better than I'll be able to and more accurately, but one of the other things I'm excited about. So I spend, I don't know how much a month for my Wix website. I
Mhm.
don't have email. I'm paying for the URL somewhere else. Like there's all these parts and pieces.
Oh, yeah.
I
Mhm.
add it all up. It actually can add up to a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I have all these things I'm trying to manage and keep track of and whatever. But email, I'm just going to talk about the email.
Yes.
So
Yes.
getting each email, I think on Google is to get it with my URL is like $12 or $15 a
Yeah.
piece.
Let me tell you what you're doing. So you've got the cost of the class, which is $9.97.
Yeah.
That includes the 2.5 day workshop. That includes all of the tech support during the event, and it includes lunch. We have Luna's Kitchen that's going to sponsor us and bring lunch in, and Este Pizza in Park City, which I know you guys all love, is coming to give us lunch. Now, the only other cost that's associated is $12.95 a month. That is your hosting fee. And if you have a website, you have to have a host. And it's basically you get to rent part of a computer, it's a server that has all of the files and the database on it. And then that is access to the internet live forever, as long as you have that. Now, what's included in the hosting, there's several different ways to do email. I'll talk about 2 of them. You can have free emails with the hosting plan. So you can access emails, you can put them on your phone, you can put them on your desktop, up to 20 free emails, I believe. That's no extra cost, and everything is hosted in one place.
That unto itself is such a potentially huge savings for people. So keep going.
Huge. Now, if you want to use Google Workspace or if you want to use Office 365, you can. That is an additional between $6 and $12 per month per user. There's benefits to that. But if you're starting out and you're like, I just don't want to have that extra overhead, you don't have to. You can start with the included emails, which is, and then we'll help you. It's called an MX record. And so on your DNS settings inside of your hosting file, we'll make sure you know what to do. And if you are done and ready during the weekend, our tech team can actually help you with those settings.
Yeah.
And we'll make sure you walk away with instructions to know how to do that.
That and the back end. So I've had this Wix website forever. I originally went to Wix over Squarespace and others because while Squarespace had some beautiful designs, they didn't actually work for the way I wanted to tell my story, and Wix allowed me to play with that more and more intuitively. But the whole back end part, like I I don't know. It just I don't know even where to begin. Now I could probably AI it and know in a heartbeat instead of having to spend all kinds of times watching videos and
Yeah.
reading things.
Yeah.
But it so I've had websites up, but they haven't had the stuff that necessarily makes them work well unless someone happens to stumble upon it or get to it from a more direct route.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the other piece that, yes, you can do it yourself using all these tools that are out there, but there's just a different level to everything that will be happening in this workshop and how it gets
So
built.
awesome. I want to say two things about that.
Yeah.
Number one is we're using a front end editor. It's a theme. So it's kind of like WordPress is like your foundation and your walls if you were building a house. Your theme is kind of like your wallpaper and your carpet, right? It's how it looks and feels. So our theme we're using is a front end editor. So you don't have to know HTML. You don't know have to know CSS. You can design the look and the feel without any knowledge of code. And you can look at something and say, that doesn't look quite right. And we're going to show you how to tweak it, which is awesome. The second thing that I'm really excited about is every website, Jumbo Jon website, comes with about 13 plugins. Like on your phone, you have a plugin, like you have apps, right? I have a calculator app, I have a camera app. Well, there's about 13 plugins that are really important from a tech side, from an SEO side, from a design side. And we give you about $500 in premium themes and plugins. That is part of the Jumbo Jon packaging, that there's licenses that we have to renew every year to manage those. And as long as you have this website, you won't have to buy the license year after year after year.
It's amazing.
That's a huge upgrade and a huge opportunity. Like for example, we use a program that allows you to have a great form on your website. And then that form entries get saved on your website, or you can connect it with a CRM system. So, and then we have a caching program that allows you to make sure this website's really fast for users to browse. We have our themes and our plugins. So that's another really cool benefit that I'm excited to offer to this class.
Yeah. I'm so excited. We only have space for 20 people because we're going to be diving in, digging deep, and getting a whole lot of support.
Yep.
So I would invite anybody who has been wanting a better website, who has an idea they want to get out in the world and they haven't done it yet, who gosh, just wants to build like know-how and build their own and be able to start working with that with some support to get that started. Who else is ideal for this?
Oh my gosh, this is great. If you have a website but it's too slow, it's not finished, it hasn't been updated, you have an idea, but you feel like the website you have doesn't have the foundation to be able to grow. Even if you have a website right now and you wanna upgrade it, this would be a great place to come with that foundation. You don't have to have nothing to come to this workshop. This would be a great place to come if you have a solid foundation and you're ready for that next step. The programs we use can be really lightweight. They're really good for search engine optimization, and they're customizable for you. We're giving you the keys to a Lamborghini. And sometimes that can feel kind of overwhelming as you're learning, but I promise you guys, I have trained over 400 business owners. Like our team, we're going to use language you understand. And the other cool thing that we haven't talked about is if you really don't have experience, because this is not a browser 101 class.
Right.
If you don't know what the word browser means, this is not the right class for you.
Yeah.
But if you have a website and you don't feel comfortable in the tech space, you can bring a +1 at no extra cost.
Yeah.
So if you want to bring your partner, or if you want to bring somebody from work that can help collaborate with the technology, that's totally an option. You can have somebody there to help you with the tech.
Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah.
It's a handful of very, very intense days,
Yeah.
which kind of ties into this whole adventure and warrior piece.
Yes.
Think about like just a couple days of really big work
Mhm.
and what you can walk out with versus months and months and months of dabbling around. Or at least I'll speak for myself. I will speak
Yes. Yes.
dabbling around, trying like, all of that. It's uh I'm just so excited to see what people create and
I'm so excited.
yeah.
I love that you said that because I think the word easy means little or no effort. This is not easy. This is simple. We've created the platform, we've created the content strategy, we've created the design layout, and you get to come in and make it your authentic voice. It's going to be work. It's going to be labor. But it's going to be joyful, and you're going to have support. And you're going to walk away feeling so proud of the work that you've done and excited to move forward into the next season, feeling proud of the work that you have online.
Because again, this is actually more than a website. This is so much more
This
than
is
just
so
getting
much
your
more.
stuff into a website. And so that too, I mean, what you would pay to have someone like me, a strategist or whatever, come in and figure your
Mhm.
shit out. Excuse, can I say that? To figure your stuff out. It like there too. I mean, they're getting a huge chunk of that in this
Huge.
process,
Yeah.
which is to get all of that for under $1,000 and have so much clarity after 2 days and 3 hours is really, I don't know.
Amazing.
It's so please come check this out. I know that amount still probably sounds like a lot. It is, it is such an amazing value. And I'm trying to figure out how to help our community really understand because it's a hard thing to understand till you see and experience it. And
Yeah.
it's so different and it's so much
Yeah.
more.
Yes. Here's the thing is if you were to spend $1,000, whether it's with Jumbo John, whether it's Rocket Trike, whether it's another agency, you're going to get about 6 to 8 hours of time from an expert. And which is not enough time for them to build you a website. And like good, better, best, we talk about that a lot at Jumbo John is, but like what's the good? And don't have anything, let's get you that starting point. And if you're at better, let's upgrade, let's enhance, let's take the message that's worked for the last 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years, and let's move forward with your goals that you have for 2025. We have one of the best web development teams in Utah. I'm so proud of our team, and we've worked really hard to create a product that is easy to understand, that's digestible, that it has a process and a system, so that in this condensed time period, we can get these 4 landing pages and your brand archetype and your messaging all squared away. So,
Okay. So that's the last thing. I don't know if we talked about, but you just said it. So it's 4 pages.
Yep, you get your homepage, which
Yep.
is your concierge. It helps people get around. Number 2 is your About Us page. Your About Us page is the content that helps people understand your mission. It's not just the history of your business. It's like, what are your core values? What's your give back? Why you think about Star Wars and now it's Wicked. Why do people go at 12:01 and watch Wicked dressed up in their favorite Elphaba costume? Is because there's a movement and a community and a passion behind it. The About Us page is about how do you deliver the message and invite people into that community.
Yeah.
You get your contact us page so people know how to get a hold of you, and we have that form builder. You can connect calendars if you want to there. And then the last page we're building out is your offer page. And so you can really dial in what is your offer for the next quarter. And then you can take that formula and use it for as many products as you'd like. And then in addition to those, this product has a blog. So you can start using that blog feature, but it is a foundation for you to grow. So it's not going to end there. That's the starting point.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
I'm so
So
excited
to sign up, they go to easiest way is probably Jumbo John and then your events, and then it'll be a DIY website.
Yep. Exactly. Go to jumbojohn.com. At the top, there's an events tab, and there's a drop down to the Weekend Warrior website. It'll take you to our platform where you're buying your hosting and your ticket to the event in the same place. Super, super, super easy. We will put the links in the description on this video, so you guys can just click the links. In addition to that, I will make sure that my email is in those descriptions as well. So if you have questions, if you want to schedule a quick consult, we can talk about it on the phone. If you guys have questions about your business and see if this would be a good fit for your business.
So awesome. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. I'm so excited. And the cool thing about it is that having that community, I can't wait to see what kind of community we build that weekend. It's Thursday and a Friday, which is super close to the weekend, but just to see what happens and what comes about because of that collaboration. So,
yep.
All right. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you for being here. All right. See you guys later. Bye.